All right, hey, this is Kirk Reynolds from KR Physical Fitness, and today we're going to do our floor mobility exercises. This is something that I would really encourage you to think about doing either in the morning before you start your workday, or at night before you go to bed, right before you go to bed. I actually prefer to do it at night when I'm all finished with the day. Helps me to be able to relax and just get ready for having a good sleep. Anywho, so the first movement that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to get down and we're going to go crisscross applesauce. So we're going to cross our legs over. We're going to try to get our knees down as far as we can, and then what I'm looking for is for little circles in those hips as I'm in this position. I'm going to do 10 in one direction, and the second is going to be 10 in the opposite direction. When I'm done with those 10 on each side, I'm going to go ahead and flip my legs and switch. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. 10 in one direction, and then I'm going to do 10 in the opposite direction as well. All right. So when I'm done with those reps on each side, I'm going to go ahead and go into the butterfly position. So the butterfly is with your feet together. And I typically hold my toes when it comes to this, and I want to let my knees droop down. So if I'm up here, I want to try to relax them as far down as I possibly can. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just let them kind of flutter like a butterfly. I'm going to go back and forth. Now, I don't really do this for reps. It's hard to count because it's pretty fast. And so I just do this for a bit until I get kind of tired of it, and I go, I've been doing this for a while. I think it's about time my legs feel like they're as good as they're going to get when it comes to this. So once you're done with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to extend one of those legs out. I'm going to bring my other leg to the inside, or the other foot rather, to the inside of my leg. And then I'm trying to get my toes to my nose. So I'm pointing my toes up to my nose, and then I'm going to lean my chest forward. Okay. I'm going to hold that for about 20 seconds. When I'm done with that 20-second stretch, I'm going to go ahead and send my torso back again, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch legs. I'm going to put my opposite foot up against my leg. I'm going to get my toes to my nose, and I'm going to lean my chest forward. Now, you may find yourself being able to lean your chest all the way forward. I'm not that flexible, but I'll tell you, I'm a lot better off than I used to be. I used to be up here when I first started, and it would burn so bad underneath the back of my knee and up into my hamstring. And now I'm able to get farther down. I can actually reach my toes, which is really nice. You can do that as well. You can grab your toe and you can start pulling on it. If you can go ahead and reach all the way there, that's a-okay as well. About 20 seconds, like I said. All right, so from here, we're gonna go into the 90-90 stretch. So I'm looking for my leg to come up straight out in front of me and go into a 90-degree angle. And then for my others to come out and also go into a 90-degree angle. So this is why it's called 90-90, okay? So from here, I'm gonna look straight ahead. I'm using my opposite hand, my right hand, to be my prop when it comes to that. And I'll show you what that looks like when we switch sides so that you can see that. But I'm keeping my torso up nice and straight as I lean forward, very similar to the glute stretch or the pigeon pose that we did in the general warm-up. I'm gonna notice that on this front leg, I'm really stretching that glute on there. But what's interesting about this is that I may be stretching the glute of the front leg for this direction, but if I kind of circle around and bring my torso back like this, then I really feel it on the inside of my groin and my hip joint on this back leg. Now, I want you to be really careful and really slow when it comes to this movement, because if you move too fast, you can cause some serious pain when it comes to that. And so, especially if you're incredibly immobile. So from here, we're just kind of going back and forth. Dr. Kelly Starrett from the Ready State, he actually says, he calls this noodling. We're just kind of noodling back and forth within our movement. And I love that phrase, because I feel like I'm just kind of feeling my way around, kind of checking it out and seeing where I'm tight. It's like, where am I tight? I'm tight right in there. And so I'm just gonna kind of do little partial circles back and forth. See how it's feeling, see if it loosens up at all. And I do feel like I'm even getting a little bit looser. Now what you'll notice is this leg is pretty flat on the ground, and this knee is pretty flat on the ground as well. So if my knee was up like this, then clearly something's not quite going on, and so that would be the thing that I would focus on, trying to get this knee all the way down. Or if this one is up like this and I can't get it all the way down, then I want to bring my chest over and try to get that thing all the way down. We're looking for wherever we're tight, and we kind of work in that area that we're tight. Oftentimes, when it comes to mobility stuff, we tend to flee from the direction that we're tight or when things hurt. And I want you to start thinking about maybe digging into that a little bit and trying to figure out, get a little curious. Why is it that I'm so stinking tight in this area? Is there something that I can do to be able to start working my way into these positions and get a little more flexible, get a little better off as I'm doing this? Now, once again, I'm doing the opposite side now, and I'm kind of noodling around where I'm tight. It is on the inside of my groin and inside hip on that back leg that I feel it, just like I did on the other side. This isn't too tight for me at all. I can probably get my chest and my nose all the way down if I wanted to. But this back area is where I'm feeling most tight. And so you can, once again, hang out for a bit, find out where you're tight. All right, next movement, once we're done noodling around a bit for in that 90-90 stretch, is we're gonna go ahead and come on up. And it's okay for you to be on a padded surface. So if you wanna have a yoga mat underneath of you for all of these movements, by all means do. I'm on, of course, a hard wooden floor here. If you have a tile floor or wooden floor at home, you don't have to suffer. You can actually put something a little bit softer underneath of that. That's a-okay. So from here, you'll notice that my feet are flat to the ground itself. I'm sitting back on my actual heels. For some of you, you might not be able to do this. You may end up finding that you're here, and then as you start to come back, you're like, oh man, that is so tight. Well, that's okay. Find something to grab onto, maybe a couch cushion or a seat or something like that, and just try to start working your way back. And you won't be able to do this necessarily the first day that you do it, or the first week, or the first month. But that's okay. We're looking for progress, trying to get a little bit closer to being down, all the way down to the ground each time. As we do that, as we work to that, I'm going to go ahead and start noodling around a bit. Just notice it. Am I tight in my ankles at all? Am I tight in my quads at all? Am I tight in kind of around my knee area at all? And I'm feeling pretty good on this. Even my ankles are feeling pretty good. I don't have to spend too much time on this. But I will say, I want you to think about this. When you're getting up from this position, if you know that you're tight, you're going to be really tight when you get up. So be very gentle, be very slow with yourself in getting all the way back up, and just kind of feel yourself out. Make sure that it's nice and good as you do that. So those are the floor work that we want to work on every day. I do want to say that there is one specific movement that I would like for you to start thinking about practicing. Typically you want to do this as an open area where you're not going to be able to fall back and hit something, but it's basically a stand and sit test. And so I'm crossing one leg over the other, and you may find this easier or harder with one side than the other. And so I want you to work both ways for this. But the goal is to sit down without touching your hands and without flopping and without falling over or losing your balance. And then from here, without your knees touching the ground, without your hands touching the ground, we want to try to stand back up again. Okay? So let's see how well you can do that. We always want to do this after the general warm-up, after our stretches and all that kind of stuff. Make sure that you're nice and limber. Don't try to do this without warming up first. We always want to make sure that, especially with our knees, our ankles, our hips, we want to make sure that we're in a good position and already have some WD-40 in those joints before we try to do this. But go ahead and try that. You'll notice that it may be quite hard for you. Maybe there's not a possibility of you doing that without touching the ground. You've got to lean over and press your hands into the ground and get up onto your knees and then stand up from there. Okay, so that tells you that if you can't get up with those feet crossed, that there's something for you to work on. There's some mobility stuff that we need to be working on. And that's what those floor exercises that we were doing before, it's really what you're working on. We're working on that hip mobility especially. So if you can't, if you don't have hip mobility, it's going to be really difficult for you to go ahead and get up and get back down, or vice versa in those movements. So go ahead and try this stuff out. Do this daily. Once again, you can do this in the morning or in the evening. I prefer in the evening, but you choose whatever's more convenient for you, and we'll see you next time.